Today, we will be exploring creating online assessments in Edugence. This video will provide basic instruction on how to create an online assessment using multiple choice selection, passages, etc. from item banks available to the district. There are additional user videos titled Creating Questions, which explains how the teacher may create their own unique questions and passages. To get to the page, click the apps in the top right corner and then select Assessments from the drop-down menu. Choosing that should take you to the screen. The user may search for existing assessments using any of the selections within the gray area and clicking Search. After clicking Search, existing assessments will populate below. The first column displays the identifying number of the assessment and when and who created or updated it. The second column shows the type of assessment, and the third presents the language that it is in. To the right of those three columns, the user will see a row of icons. This is the blue edit key, where the user can edit anything in the answer key. If your assessment has technology enhanced items, this icon won't appear on the list. The next one is the blue edit assessment, which will take you directly to the assessment to make changes. The third icon is labeled Clone, where you can make a copy of the assessment. The fourth blue icon is for scaling scores, which allows the user to adjust for scale scores. The fifth blue icon is for scheduling that assessment, where you can set up start and end dates as well as reminders for scanning deadlines. The next green icon, labeled Scheduling Students to Take a Test based on online bubble sheets, gives access and previews to online bubble sheets. The next green icon is the Assign Students button, which allows you to designate students who will take the assessment. If the icon is blue, it means that there are no students assigned to this test. And if your icon is green, it means that there is at least one student assigned to this test. To the right of that is the orange Manual Score Entry /Update button. And the ninth icon is the blue Preview button, where you can view the assessment in the same way your students will see it. The 10th button is the orange print icon, where you can print a hard copy of the assessment. Next is the blue Test Analysis icon, and lastly is the Answer Key icon, where you can export a copy of the answer key to Excel. Next, we will move on to creating an assessment. First, click on the New Assessment tab on the left-hand sidebar. This will take you to the following screen, where the attributes of the assessment will need to be populated. Input your district in the campus section. Campus level users like teachers, assistant principals, counselors, etc. will only be shown their campus. Then choose the grade of the assessment. In Edugence, you have to specify the grade level the assessment is tied to. However, you can give the assessment to any grade level student. For example, you can give an 8th grade math test to a 6th grade student. Next, choose the course the assessment is tied to. The list of courses are the TEA defined courses. Then, input the year. This will default to the current year, and you can only create assessments for that current year. After that, you will need to choose a title for your assessment. Choose a relevant title with a consistent naming method so it's clearly understood by everyone in the district. Next, input the language of your assessment. Moving on to type, pick a type of test from the drop-down menu. These types are district specific. Following this is the admin drop-down, which is a sequence or series of tests. The number in this sequence will be used for analytics. The next line includes the total score, high not met, low approaches, high approaches, meets, and masters. In each of these blanks, you must input the appropriate scores at each standard. For the percent scores checkbox, keeping this selected will make all the cutoff scores calculated as percentages. This is the recommended form of Edugence. Unchecking this will calculate all scores and raw scores. It is highly recommended that the district decides on one form. Lastly, on this line is the duration blank, where you will input the number of minutes the test should last. The next line is the following checkboxes: resumable, show submit later, allow review, allow previews, allow cloning, assign students, lockdown browser, and the switch for star-based points. Resumable allows the students to log back in and resume from the point of failure, just in case the test should stop for whatever reason like computer crashes, power outages, server issues, etc. Show Submit Later allows the student to stop the assessment and resume it at a given point. Allow Review will allow the students to review the test after they've completed the test. The students will not be able to make any changes to their responses. For districts that use the student portal, this is one of 3 steps that need to be met before the student is able to review the test after they completed it. The 3 steps that need to be met are 1. The student must have completed the assessment. 2. The teacher/admins must have closed the session so we know that all students have completed the test, thereby minimizing the chances that students will share their responses with others who haven't completed the test. And 3. The Allow Review button on the assessment must be checked. Allow Preview will allow teachers to preview the assessments where they will see all the questions and answers. Unselecting this will not allow the teachers to preview the test. Allow Cloning offers a user to make a copy of the assessment. Assign Students will allow teachers to assign students to take the test. This is only applicable to online assessments, and unselecting this will stop the teachers from previewing the test. Checking the lockdown browser will enable the lockdown browser for all students who take the assessment. Lastly, this will switch on star-based points. When creating an assessment, the user may select a variety of online tools the student can access while taking the assessment. Next, we will go over the following tools. Quick Item View lets the student switch to any item on the test through the Quick Item View. Toggle allows the students to scroll through all the questions. Highlight allows the students to highlight any information they want, and Strike Through allows you and the student to elect and strike through text. Scratchpad lets the student take notes, and Calculator lets the user give access to a regular, scientific, or graphing calculator for the student's use on the assessment. Ruler and Protractor give the student access to both of these tools. The Formula Sheet gives the students access to a formula sheet of a preloaded choice or custom-made chart created by the user. Magnifier allows the students to increase the size of the font, and Color Contrast allows the students to change the color of the background and font color. Question Notes allow the students to make notes, and Line Reader highlights the current line, making it easier to focus on one line. Graphing Paper allows the students access to graphing paper, and lastly, Dictionary gives the students access to a dictionary during the assessment. The user will need to type in directions for each question in their assessment. Any of the resources in the toolbar may be used to format these questions. The user is now ready to add questions by choosing New Question, which allows the user to create questions, or Select Questions to choose questions from the available item banks. This Sync Questions button syncs all the questions to the current version. When you click this button, it takes the collective information from all the questions and updates each question to its current version on Edugence. For all students who've taken the assessment, their responses will be graded on the updated version for the question. If the user chooses to create their own questions and answers, the following information will be required. First, click on the New Question button. This will take you to the following screen where blanks need to be filled in for analytical purposes. The user may use a drop-down box for a list of relevant student expectations, or SEs. For this purpose of the video, I've already filled out the question and answer boxes. When complete, the user may click on Speech Review at the top of the screen to hear how the questions and answers will be read aloud to the student. You can also select Preview to see a preview of the question. When all the information has been completed, the user will need to click on Save and go back. You may also choose questions from various item banks. To get to this page, click on Select Questions. This will take you to the following screen. Grade and subject will be pre-populated based on the selections you made on the original screen. The user will need to choose a language, and if desired, analytical factors including Bloom's cognitive demand level and p-value. The Originator drop-down allows the user to select one or all of the item banks available. The item type includes all, multiple choice, text, numeric, multi-select, drag and drop, inline, select, etc. Click on the search icon and the questions meeting the selected criteria will follow. You can also filter the items by item bank by selecting the bank you want on the originator dropdown. Once the user has clicked on the search icon, 2 additional parameters will appear, allowing the user to also search by text or by passage. After the parameters have been chosen and searched, the user will see the available numbers of questions and passages meeting the criteria. Once items have been selected, the number of assessment items chosen will also be reflected. Each question includes the item bank answer, content SE, Bloom's taxonomy, cognitive demand, language, and identifier, as well as the question. The user may add this question to the assessment by clicking on Select. After clicking Select, the user may use the icons at the bottom to hear the question read aloud, preview the question and answers, clone the question, and give feedback. If the user chooses a question associated with the passage, the following pop-up message will appear, and the user may choose to add other questions related to that passage. When the user has completed selecting and/or creating questions, click Save and go back to Assessment at the top of the screen. The user may now select additional versions of the assessment. Type in the desired number, click on Shuffle Questions, and additional versions will be created. The user will see all questions selected for the assessment. You may click on a question and move it around to change the order of the question. You may also click on the trash icon to delete the question. When complete, click Save. The user may also click on any of the icons to see a scanned sheet and preview to see the test and how it will look to students. After saving, the user may look at the bottom of the screen and see SE information, including how many questions are assessing each SE. We hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to create online assessments on Edugence. Thanks and happy teaching.